and welcome to OttaTalk, the City of Ottawa's podcast series where we talk with staff about city programs, projects, and initiatives. So, if one of your resolutions for 2026 is to be more active, then sit right down, wait a second, maybe get up, do some jumping jacks, but join us for this episode about city recreation programs.
Our theme music to start the show is titled Time by the Moon by Kate Weeks. We begin and end every podcast with a local artist featured on the City Sound playlist on SoundCloud. You can find a link to our playlist in our show notes, and you'll hear more from Kate Weeks at the end of our podcast. One more reason to stay till the end, Tom. My name is Alexandra Grant. I'm the program lead for Linear Rehab and Grants with the Infrastructure Water Services Department.
And I'm Tom Peckloff. I'm a public outreach and communications coordinator in the Public Works Department, supporting parks maintenance and forestry services. In a moment, we're going to talk with Chantal Laporte, the program manager for recreation complex operations with Recreation, Culture, and Facility Services. First, though, Alexandra, how much time do you spend in city recreational facilities?
That's a funny question in my world. My son is a goalie. He plays for the Canada teams. And this means I'm always in a city rink. Always. I know where they all are and where the best coffees are served in a rink and where the best washrooms are as well. So how about yourself, Tom? Do you go to the gym? I hate to ask.
We have a family membership and members of our family go. And so do I. I get grief for not going enough, but I do go.
Perfect. Before we get started, we have a few housekeeping notes. Any city programs or services we talk about will be in the program notes wherever you are streaming this podcast, or you can search them on the city's website at ottawa.ca. The program notes also have a link to the city's YouTube channel where you will find our entire podcast archive.
Chantal Laporte worked as a lifeguard and fitness instructor during her university years with a clear goal of becoming a physiotherapist. Since then, her career path has evolved in ways she never could have predicted. She ultimately stepped away from a clinical practice to join the city's recreational, culture, and facility services department. Today, she blends her passion for health and wellness with the fast-paced environment of managing large recreation complexes, while also serving as the department's physical activity subject matter expert. She has contributed to the design and build of 3 recreation complexes, most recently the Riverside South Recreation Complex, which is now entering the design phase.
With over 25 years of experience as a fitness instructor, trainer, and presenter, she remains active, inspired, and deeply passionate about fitness, health, physical activity. And she's with us today. Chantal, welcome to OttaTalk.
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate when I read that or I listen to that biography, I feel like it's about someone else, but it is mine, I swear.
We're always surprised when our things are written down on paper, aren't they?
Yes.
You had a goal, maybe even a dream, of becoming a physiotherapist. You achieved that. What drew you away to take a new path?
I can tell you that my parents were very disappointed after a bachelor's degree and a master's degree that I would actually leave the practice. It was actually, I always taught fitness classes, and I don't think I knew in my path that I was going to go back to doing something similar and support our operations in the department. We actually moved to Ontario and from Quebec, and I had to renew my license to become registered as a physiotherapist in Ottawa, in Ontario. And at the time, I wasn't sure I really wanted to do it again and have to do more practicum hours. And then I looked back at my career planning that I had done in my third year of my bachelor's degree. And guess what? On there was 1, physiotherapist, 2, managing a recreation complex. And only at that time did I realize that I could probably marry both of the worlds together in seeking out a a position within it. It just happened that it fell on my lap. I worked for the City of Gloucester, and then I never went back to being a physiotherapist, although I do use, people ask me all the time, how do I fix my back and how this hurts? What can you do about it? Or what exercises would you recommend? So I'm able to blend both.
I'll have some questions for you after the podcast.
Sounds good.
Now, you contributed to designing 3 recreation complexes. Which ones?
I was there when we opened Plant Recreation Center downtown. I also worked on the design build of, at the time it was called a Goburn Recreation Complex in Stittsville.
I know that one very well.
It's got 2 rinks. So it's now known as the Cardinal Recreation Complex, which was expanded twice. I also worked on the design build for the Richcraft Recreation Complex in Canada as well.
And are you able to walk around there now and point to things that you influenced and say, hey, I did that?
Absolutely. It actually I was just at Richcraft Recreation Complex on Monday, and every time I walk in, there's that feeling of familiarity, and it's a very bright, airy space, and I feel like we did such a fantastic job of bringing the community in to a facility that feels like a home away from home.
I love that facility, and thank you for actually telling me that it was you, because I get that every time I walk in there too, actually.
It was a team. It was a team effort.
It always is, but it's nice when you're the one who points it out, though. Just before the holidays, the city announced a new fee structure for its recreational membership and admission model. Can you explain why the change?
The old model dates back from 2004, so it was seriously outdated. Part of the reason it was also time to do it is because it had 14 different levels. It was very confusing, and people had a hard time navigating it. And partly because the model was outdated, it fit the City of Ottawa at the time, which only had 4 small centers, and then it had 7 larger that we would call complexes today. But since then, the City of Ottawa expanded a great deal. We've built many facilities since then, 6 more, and we've also expanded a lot of the reach in the community, and some of the buildings that were run by community associations actually became run by the city. So first of all, there was a number of buildings. It changed a great deal. And we also received a lot of complaints from people who were, let's say, going to Saint Laurent Complex. And the membership system worked at that place. You could buy a membership pass and use the services there. They would go to Overbrook Community Center, 2 kilometers from them, and they would say, how come I can't use my pass here? And in the old system, only those sites, and it was 11 complexes, and in the end, that's once we started expanding, 11 complexes and 6 Class B, the smaller centers with less amenities. And everything else was not accessible through a membership pass, which is something that we definitely wanted to resolve. We had so much feedback from clients, and we knew we needed to make it more accessible.
I mean, that sounds like a huge undertaking and something that was well needed for sure. What's the process? How do you go about making a change this big? And is there a public consultation?
We had several waves of public consultation. Once you identify the problem, right, it's about, you want to make sure that you consult both the employees and the residents to find out, not just the users, but the ones that don't use their facilities in their community. What do they want? What do they need? What access would they require? And our mandate being that we want people to remain physically active for health and wellness purposes, we want to make sure we listen to them and have an idea of what their needs are. So we identified a lot of clunky bits from the current, or from the old membership pass system and the old admission system. To give you an idea, like we had a lot of people from the Class B sites, so the smaller sites, were saying that their facilities in their community is only, they can only access that one. But what if they want to go and use a facility, a larger facility, then they had to pay a full rate, an admission rate, to go attend a swim at another site, for example. Looking at both the financial aspect, the access aspect, and making sure that we're able to respond to what the concerns were. I can tell you the number one concern people had, and that we heard at public consultation, is please don't make my membership prices go up significantly. The cost of living is so high. I don't want to be priced out of being able to be active.
proof that the city does listen to our residents. So this is great. I love to hear that. So walk us through the new membership models. Can you tell us that?
The new membership pass system has 3 different levels. So we went from 14 to 3, which is a huge improvement. And it is really based on the level of service you want to access. So the basic is the lowest cost level. It includes the most popular recreation activities. That's your public swimming, that's your public skating, and the gymnasium sports like basketball, volleyball, pickleball, and badminton, for example. And it really is meant to keep the core activities really affordable. It meets the mandates. It's for all segments of the population. It really is meant, again, to keep people active. And we're also really looking after, we always do a lot of swimming activities. And even though we have 20 pools, it seems we never have enough. But swimming is accessible. It's a form of activity that anyone, any walk of life can do and is appreciated for all. And it's a life skill. And we also want to focus on drowning prevention. So we wanted to keep that really affordable for families who want to, and I mean, we have so many lakes and rivers in Ottawa. We want to make sure that we keep that as a priority. And of course, the sports, a lot of people enjoy having to doing their sports in gymnasium setting. And we wanted that to remain, and people can go as a family, to remain very affordable and have access to all the gyms that we have in the city, because we have a good amount of gymnasiums. The plus level is the next level up. And when you're going to the next level, it includes all of the activities from the previous level. So it includes everything from the basic level. And now it introduces specialized equipment and spaces. So that's the cardio and weight rooms, that's squash and racquetball courts, as well as ice sports like drop-in hockey and curling. And then we have the third level, which is super. So the level involves the most resource-intensive activities. So this is the group fitness class, the aqua fitness classes, wave swims, and rock wall climbing. And those are the activities really that cost the most to the city to deliver. They either have specialized spaces, they have specialized equipment, and they have certified instructors for the most part. Wave swims have a lot of lifeguards and specialized equipment, and then rock wall climbing is also, we have 2 of them in the city, one in the east at François Dupuis and one in the west at the Ridgecraft Recreation Complex. And of course, again, that's very resource heavy. So the fees and the membership costs, they increase with each level, but the goal was still to keep it really affordable. So all the 3 tiers, if you're buying an annual membership, you are getting really good value. When we did benchmarking with 89 cities, including some in the States, because we wanted to look at the United States and see how we compare. When we did that benchmarking, including also with the local gyms and the local fitness facilities in the city, we were clearly offering, I wouldn't say competitive rate, affordable rates. And we are also very easy to access. But also if you buy an annual membership, you have the ability to, if you have a library card, so the Ottawa Public Library card, we have a partnership with them, and you can get 20% off the cost of your annual membership just by having a free library card. This is a partnership we struck out with the library. It's very similar to the City of Toronto, where we're able to actually make membership costs a lot more affordable.
The city's offering discounts for library cards. That is awesome. That's great.
So we won't get into all the numbers right now, but is there a place where people can go to find out what the different price structures are?
Absolutely. On our website, we have a listing of all the fees. The current ones, as well as the 2026 fees, will be available on the website. But also we have a Recreation Pathfinder option that is available. And in that little tool, you can actually write in what your specifications are. How many people are part of your family, for example? Are you looking for an adult membership? What activities do you regularly do? And it will give you the best option for what you need as far as costs, but also the level of pass that you need, whether it's basic, plus, or super.
The new system removes the A and B designation from facilities. For those who aren't familiar with it, what do the A and B facilities refer to? I mean, A, B, C, like what does A and B mean?
We also said ABC because there was no C, which would have been all the other community centers, but we have Class A were considered to be the larger centers that had more amenities, more services offered. And again, going back, this is back in 2004 that we had made that classification. Whereas the Class B sites were really, at the time, there was only 4 small sites that had fewer amenities and fewer services offered. So it was meant to have a category of pricing that was 2-tiered, where you would have, if you're accessing a small facility with very few services, you would have a less of a cost for a membership pass compared to a Class A site that had a lot of services. The funny thing about this is that the admission rates were actually the same at both, but the membership pass rates were different. So that's another advantage of going to a new system, a 3-tiered system, and that we were able to not only remove that classification, but then also make all of the other sites available. So if you, for example, you're a pickleball player, very popular, and especially in winter, there's not a lot of places to play outdoors. You want to play in a gymnasium, you can access with your membership pass, a basic level. You can go to any city facility that offers pickleball with that pass.
That sounds easy.
Remove barriers.
Or easier, I guess.
Well, and that's the whole point of the Direct Pass, right? It's something for everyone, options for everyone. So we're going to try to stump you a little bit here, okay? So we're going to give you some scenarios. What if I only do 1 course per week?
The trigger for purchasing a membership pass is if you are going more than once a week. So if you're going 4.2 times, it's more advantages for you. And yes, that's the math behind it. That's when you want to buy a membership pass.
I knew math would come into this. I had a feeling
it
when I
always
woke up
does.
this morning.
Tell my daughter every day, math matters.
But if you're only going to go 4 times in a month, your best option then would be a multi-visit pass. So then you would have, it's 10 passes for the price of 9. And then that would be your best possible scenario. You could, of course, do an admission each time, but that would become more expensive. You would want to do the multi-visit. But here's the other piece. If, for example, you go to a fitness class once a week, but you like to go swimming twice a week, then you could also have the option of buying a basic membership that would give you access to swimming, because that's the 4.2. Now you're at 8 times in a month. It would be advantageous for you to get the basic membership and get the multi-visit pass to access your fitness class. So then it becomes a kind of a hybrid model. You're able to do both.
All right.
The famous workaround.
Yes.
All right. There's multiple people in my household who can take part in the activities.
Well, basically, a household for us is classified as having a minimum of 2 adults. That doesn't mean that it has to be 2 parents. It could be a grandmother with a mother. And then all of the children that are under the age of 25 in that household are included in that membership. So a family, let's say, of 2 adults and 5 children, it is as if the children were free. It's the price of 2 adults, and that's it. So you can add as many people from your household in that membership.
Okay. So I buy one membership, but determine I bought the wrong one and I want to change it. Can I?
Of course.
How's that?
Well, we do not charge initiation fees. We do not have cancellation fees. We don't have extra fees, period. So if you decide you want to change your pass, whether it's changing it because you want to access more activities or less activities, or you want to cancel it because you are going away for a period of 3 months for the winter, for example, no extra fees. You can cancel it anytime.
I like that. What do you say to people who think the city is competing with private gyms and shouldn't even be in this business? That kind of leads to your last question, Tom. So what do you say to those people, Chantal?
What we offer is a focus on residents and families being active. So there's a direct correlation between exercise and health, wellness, disease prevention, and injury prevention. Our mandate is to keep people physically active. So we promote health and wellness. We're about providing spaces. We're about providing opportunities for residents of all ages and abilities to participate in recreation activities. Swimming is a big part of that. Skating is a big part of our identity as Canadians. Accessing sports, like I mentioned before, basketball, badminton, volleyball, table tennis, pickleball, that's for everyone. It's not only for those who can afford a membership in a big fancy club. It really is more about having something accessible in your community that's going to be affordable.
And you mentioned mandate to make everyone active and fit and healthy. Now, obviously, it's no secret that times are tough for some people in Ottawa. how does the city help people who are struggling to afford a gym or recreation membership?
There are two ways you can access a discount. The one is I mentioned a little bit earlier that any resident who has a library card, which is free or available online, you can use that library card in our partnership with the Ottawa Public Library, where you can get 20% off on any of the membership passes, an annual membership pass. The other thing that we have available is our hand-in-hand program, which is our subsidy program for families in need. And that continues to be applicable towards purchase of a membership pass.
So, 3 times a year, and I'm pausing on this question on purpose, residents do the Mad Olympic lottery dash, and they race to their computers, they race to, the Ethernet or whatever it is they have to access the internet for, and they try to register for spring, fall, and winter classes. Can we be clear on this one here? These memberships that we're talking about today, they have nothing to do with the seasonal registrations, or do they?
You're correct. It hasn't. There's no. The registration system is not needed for this, so you can go anytime you wish. So at any of your local facilities. So we have more than 50 sites in the city that sell these membership passes or admissions, and they're really easy. It's just a question of going to that customer service desk and ask to purchase one. And you can even, again, like I mentioned earlier, if you look on the website and you can determine what your need is, you can actually come to the center and already know what you want and purchase it right away. And then as soon as you do that, it's activated, you get your own card, and then you can access all of those services with your card at any of those sites.
So they can do this year round, not just 3 times a year.
Correct.
In other words, that's great.
Anytime.
That's awesome.
Excellent. But now, over the years, we've all heard a lot of people complain about the registration system, right? And 3 times a year, social media explodes with people complaining about all the problems that they've had with it. How is that working these days?
So a lot of the technical problems have been resolved. It's normal, like we did have some growing pain of getting used to the system. I will say this, for swimming lessons, we have a lot more demand than we can meet, even though the City of Ottawa has 20 indoor pools, 9 outdoor pools, and we offer a plethora of swimming lessons. There's just more demand than there is availability. We're actually, I heard recently someone was saying, well, we just don't have enough pools in Ottawa for the number of residents. We actually are 3rd in Canada for the number of pools per capita, so we do actually really well. I should also mention that we have 2 on the way that are going to alleviate some of that, the wait lists and the traffic that we get. So there is a new pool coming at the Riverside South Recreation Complex, and of course, we're working on a partnership with Carleton University to build a brand new 50-meter pool as well. So we're continuing to invest in infrastructure to make sure that we meet that demand and that everyone can have access to swimming lessons for drowning prevention reasons. That still remains our goal. But yes, otherwise, the system works really well, maybe too well. That's part of the issue too, is that things fill up very quickly. If there's a high demand, and people put it in their cart, it will happen very, very quickly. So for sure, it's still a little bit of a struggle for programs that have a lot of demand.
At least there's demand. That's the great thing about it. It's good to know that there's a few more solutions coming down the pipe. But so after everything we've talked about today, and thank you very much for joining us today, Chantal, do you have anything else that you'd like to add today?
I would say that we've been pleasantly surprised to see how well this new membership pass service has been received by the public, meaning that we beat records for so far for the month of December, that people are switching their passes from their old passes to the new pass because they want more access. So we definitely are delivering. And I think people are very happy to see that they're paying for the services that they want to use, that they need, rather than buying a pass that they weren't necessarily. Because before, if you wanted to use more than one service, you had to buy an all-inclusive. Now, with the way it's tiered, you can get really what you want and what you need. So I'm not surprised that the new model is working, But it's also really nice to see, and I'm looking forward to see how January with the New Year's resolutions will go, and people will discover how easy it now is to decipher what type of pass and what kind of service you want.
Chantal, thanks for your time today.
My pleasure.
This is the end of the podcast, but not the end of the conversation. Remember to visit ottawa.ca for more information about the programs you heard about here. Be on the lookout for upcoming announcements about more City of Ottawa podcasts. That's when we OttaTalk about something completely different.
To play us out, here's a little more of Time by the Moon by Kate Weeks from the City Sounds playlist on SoundCloud.